let's get started. This is the March 2nd, 2023 meeting of the Rockport Planning Board. All members are present at the opening of the meeting with the exception of Harry Korsland. And we do expect him, but we do have a quorum, so we'll proceed with the meeting. First item on the agenda is the public comment. This is a public comment period where people are allowed to comment on any matter relating to planning. That's what it should relate to. So anybody with their hands up, Mr. Moderator?
I have Toby Arsenian has his hand up.
Okay.
Thank you. Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street. I'm looking at your legal notice for next week's meeting on the zoning articles. Does it note that you decided not to go forward with J? And then I have a few more comments.
Okay, let me take a look at it and see what it says.
J would be on the warrant in any case. I don't think you or anyone else can take it off. I mean, you could choose not to move it, but somebody else could. I'm not going to. My comments under section Roman numeral 8, special regulations. You have the third bullet down, allows on-site sewage treatment for more than one lot consistent with Mass Department of Health regulation for conservation subdivisions. I object to that as a description of what you're doing. I don't think it has anything to do with the Massachusetts Board of Health. And then my other comment on the—
Hold on for a second. Yeah, it does, but keep on going.
And then I hope to hear about Jay. I won't argue with you. Section 9, Roman numeral 9, eliminating waivers by special permit for housing construction in the coastal floodplain district. That describes part of what you're doing. The other part was new setbacks in the velocity zones. That was a definite change and a mistaken one, and there's no note of it there. I just think that's unfortunate. And perhaps you heard the shocking news that the Smiths have sold Whistle Stop Mall.
I haven't.
And can we hear about Article J? What your thought is on that?
Well, our thought is, without deferring to town council on how we're going to deal with this, Article J really does not fit within the multifamily housing requirements from the Department of Housing and Community Development, and there's really no purpose to it. So one way or another, it's we're not going to be moving it forward. How that's going to happen is up to town council and the moderator, but that will be discussed. But there's no point to doing it because it doesn't satisfy any of the requirement. It doesn't satisfy some of the key requirements of the multifamily housing guidelines from Department of Housing and Community Development, and therefore it's a kind of wasted exercise at this point. So that's
fine by me. I was in the midst of an amendment to it when Ross Brackett pulled the plug, but if the whole thing is going away, I would say that's just fine. I think you need to consult with town council because anything that's on the warrant, you may choose not to move it, but anyone else would have as much right as you do. I'm not proposing to move.
Listen, thanks for that, Toby, but I am, as I mentioned before, that we are consulting with town council, and we'll deal with it one way or the other.
Fine, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? All right, doesn't
I
sound
don't see any others.
on any other hand. So let's go to the next item, which is approval of the minutes. This would be the January 19th and February 2nd minutes. And I want to just say that we are going to be shortly very current. We're going to be actually current with our minutes, which is, I think, a really, and I'm not taking credit for it. It's a really great achievement that we came back from being months behind to now being basically, we will have the minutes. We should have the minutes of the previous meeting prior to the next meeting, and we'll be able to approve them. So, you know, I have to thank Cindy, Cynthia Balcom for that, or Cindy Balcom, because she's the one who's doing the minutes. And I do take some responsibility for getting her that position. And she's doing a great job, I think. You know, obviously there are mistakes, but, you know, we have minutes. Other boards don't have them. So, you know, in that respect, we're doing pretty well. All right, so January 19, any corrections, additions, or changes to that set of minutes?
So my comment is item number 4.
This is Harry.
Corzine spoke about. Well, you know, I don't know that I would have brought that up. I thought maybe you started off the session, Jason. I don't think that's attributed to me.
Well, okay.
I wasn't at the special town meeting. I was.
No, I know that if you spoke
Right.
about it,
Right, there were a couple attributions that were incorrect
Yes.
in these minutes, and
it could have been, you know, you asked about it, but yeah, you couldn't have spoken about it. I'll double check on that. There are other errors in this set of minutes that could be corrected, but that's one of them. Do you have any others, Harry?
No.
Okay.
Jason, I had one.
Yeah.
Under
Where
member items, in the middle of the paragraph, starting with Mikas also had Kaiser speak and ending with town meeting. I don't remember saying any of that. Was that somebody else?
I looked at that time. I had no recollection of that occurring. You know, I think the safest thing to do here is simply to delete it,
I
because it
agree.
really has no substance.
Yeah.
It's just kind of so why don't we just take that out?
So starting with Mikas also.
Yeah,
had
that whole
Kaiser
sentence.
speak through town meeting. There's 2 sentences, I think.
Okay, well, Mika's also had Kaiser speak in regards to stormwater hearing with government and bylaws meeting. Is that what you're talking about?
It goes on to say there was a public forum, which sounds like it's attributed to me, since it's no other name on it.
All right, was there a public forum though?
Coupled ideas that DPW raised. I don't remember saying that.
Okay, well then let's just delete it.
Yeah, so there's 3 sentences, actually. Should be on track and should go to Springtown meeting. I don't know what that's about.
Okay, well we'll just take them out.
Thank you.
Okay. I have a few, unless anybody else has some.
I've got a couple too, Jason.
Okay, go ahead.
The first on item 6, member items, the first sentence, the second sentence, I should say. I asked about affordable housing on the MBTA, and the second sentence says this is purely a zoning initiative, nothing to do with finance. I think it should be nothing to do with affordable units.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was an abbreviation up in
Yeah, I
section.
saw that too. First
BSN.
paragraph on page 2, BSN, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what BSN is.
Lots of BSN are less than 10,000 square feet. Existing conditions have 2 apartments. That's kind of a run-on sentence too.
Yeah, I think
Do you have any? I have no idea what they're talking about. It's not. It's not.
I might have said lots of I would say just say lots less than 10,000 square foot. There are lots of lots less than
Any
10.
Mr.
lot
Chair.
less than 10,000 square feet. Is that?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, this is likely referring to bearskin neck, is my guess, based on
Oh, okay.
the
Yeah.
acronym
Right.
and my
get the-
recollection of
Oh,
the meeting.
Lots on bearskin neck are less than 10,000 square feet,
That makes sense.
comma, maybe, and the existing conditions have a lot of 2 apartment units on them, something to that effect.
Okay. And existing conditions have,
Have 2 apartments on a lot.
okay.
What about people who don't have a grasp on what square foot looks like? The following sentence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that being mentioned.
There's
Yeah.
probably a number in front of square foot.
Yeah. People don't have a grasp on what 10,000 square feet looks like.
Okay.
And I could go on. I think that's enough.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a couple of other things. Item 6, I have a few, I think Simmons asked what the MBTA is looking for, and the number is, she's got some digits reversed there. It's 657, not 675.
All right.
And I don't know what, third line down in that same paragraph, member items. Mikas mentions there is a plan for 3 workshops regarding town green. Tom, do you know what that would be referring to?
Yeah, these are workshops organized by Town Green.
Oh, so town green's the name of an entity.
Yeah, it's all one word. Town
It's
Green.
all one word, yeah.
Okay, town,
And there are actually 4 of them.
or of what?
For 2, there's going to be 2 more video workshops and 1 more tour of
Okay.
Dock Square, Bearskin Neck.
I wasn't counting.
So it'd be
the
4
field
work.
trip.
Well, wait a second though, but Tom might have said 3, so.
There's a total of 3 workshops and there were 2 field trips. So I wasn't counting.
Oh,
those.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 5 events, but 3 workshops. That's
And
correct.
then we go to public comment. Did
Can
I-
I say one thing on, one last thing on member items? The deadline for the CPC just last week was February 6th. It's
February
water
what?
under the bridge, but February 6th, not February
Okay, well,
2.
that's okay.
Third line in there.
Yep, I see that.
And then right above that is, it says on Tuesday about 1.8 million, that is
Yeah.
available.
Is that right?
Yes.
So, yeah, okay, so on Tuesday, about 1.8 million is available. Okay,
Yeah, I don't know what Tuesday is doing in there. Yeah, just 1.8 is available.
yeah, okay. I think I'll have to do this myself because Mary would, it would be difficult. Not hearing the comments. Under the public comments, second line represents the organization Echo, a group of 6 or 8 folks. That doesn't sound right to me. That doesn't sound like much of an organization if there's 6 or 8 people. But I don't know what she, I
It's
would
not
just say
Echo.
a group, I would just say a group supporting affordable housing and leave it at that, I don't
Yeah,
think.
strike Echo. Echo is not this organization. It's associated with it.
Well, it's not what organization?
Echo is actually ECCO, Exxon County, Essex County Community Organization, and that is associated with this, but it's not the organization at issue here.
Well, wait a second. She's referring to an organization called ECHO. So what is the acronym for the ECHO that Diane is referring to?
She's actually talking about the Rockport Affordable Housing Coalition, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Diane, can you nod your head? Yes.
Just give us the name of the organization, Diane. You can unmute her for this.
I probably said that it was started by Echo Group in the north. So it was, Echo is Essex County Community Organization. We started and it has now morphed into an organization of the Rockport Affordable Housing Coalition.
Okay, so ECHO is right, but it's just the wrong acronym, and maybe it's not. Yeah, we'll.
Context.
Yeah,
clean
that was a very early comment, I think. I don't remember what minutes you're using, but.
Oh.
so.
Well, it shouldn't characterize Echo as 6 or 8 folks.
No, I'm not. I'm crossing it out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's gone. Okay.
Thank you.
yeah. Echo's a
Uh,
huge organization.
Yeah, no, I didn't think you said that.
Yeah.
Okay, next item I have is at the bottom of the comment period, Toby Arsenian. I just have to straighten this out. He criticized me for denigrating the amendments made by Alan Battistelli at the town meeting. And I stopped him and said that I said that he finds fault with everything. I think the rest of it is correct. And I don't know what Arsenian mentioned Simmons speaking about 8,000 units, and he says that is incorrect. Or it was about 3,400. I'm not sure what that's about.
That was about, I think I mistakenly said, that's fine. I mistakenly said there were 8,000 units of housing instead of 8,000 people in Rockport.
Okay, got it.
And although I am interested in the actual figure 3,400, where I look in the census and it's 4,200 or something. So I was curious about that anyway, but yeah,
Yeah, well, it really doesn't matter. This is just public comment, so.
yeah.
All right. That will be changed, to reflect what those items. And I think that's the end of July. I mean, January 19. So
I only had one other thing, which was also in the public comments. I think Zena Sepala mentioned, this is like in line 5 of that same page, that the Board of Selectmen, again, at the cost of 1.5 million. I think that was supposed to be 15 million, wasn't it?
No, I think it was 1.5.
It was
Yeah,
1.5.
yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't.
It was ridiculously cheap.
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
2012. Well, right.
Oh, that's right. It went from 10 million. I thought it started out at 15 and went to something much less. All right.
Okay, so with all those corrections and changes, anyone want to make a motion to approve the minutes of January 19th?
Move to approve as amended.
Okay, second, seconded by Harry. Roll call vote. Tom?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Harry?
All right.
And I'll vote in favor. Approved 5-0 with corrections. All right, now we'll go to February 2nd. And I'm happy to say I wasn't here at the meeting, so I have nothing to say.
All right.
I had a comment on the ADU section 3. And this is for Bob. I think you asked what's the small, you're gonna ask what's the smallest size of units the state would approve,
Oh, right,
as
yeah.
opposed to the smallest number of units.
Correct. What is the smallest size of a unit that the state would approve?
Where is that?
It's on
Third
the
line from
2 lines from
bottom of
the
page 1.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Second line.
It's there. Second line?
From the
From the
bottom.
bottom.
From the bottom.
Okay.
should say, what is the smallest
Size.
size of a unit the state would approve?
I think that's in the guidelines. They're pretty specific.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I believe our simply reflects what their numbers are. So we didn't change it. We didn't make it any bigger or any smaller. Okay. Any other changes on February 2nd minutes?
also in section 3, the ADU, on page 2. Let's see. There's a sentence that doesn't quite make too much sense in the middle of that big long paragraph where it says already pre-exists seasonal spots if it becomes a real problem. I think I probably said something like seasonal apartments already pre-exist, comma, so if it becomes a real problem, we can always pull back on 12-month lease back to 6 months.
Okay.
And
How about that next sentence? That
the
doesn't
next
make
one's is also kind of a problem. I believe I said the lowest price per square foot would be for a longer lease, which allows the community to be less transient and less costly in rents.
All right, where is this?
This it's sort of in the middle of that big paragraph there where it starts out lowest price per square foot.
Yeah. Okay, wait a second. Yeah, lowest price per square foot, solid long lease allows the community to be less transient.
Yeah.
Well, how would that be reduced to its essence?
Yeah, well, I think I was trying to say is a 12-month lease will probably produce the lowest price per square foot and allow our community to have lower rents and be less transient.
Would
Allow our community to have lower rents and be less transient.
lowest price per square foot and allow less transient. How about less transient occupancy?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Any other changes? Okay, well, that's it. I'm not voting on this one, so someone needs to make a motion.
Move to approve as amended.
Okay.
Second,
Second motion made by Tom, seconded by Peter. Roll call vote. Peter. Peter, you want to vote on it?
aye.
Okay. Tom,
Aye.
Harry,
Aye.
and Bob.
Aye.
And I'm going to abstain because I did not attend the meeting. Okay. We are February 2nd. We have, I think, one more meeting in February and then tonight's meeting, and we should be there. All right, let's go to the applications. We have 2 A&Rs on the agenda tonight. One on 9 and 11 Drumlin Road. That's J. Meyer and M. C. Venus, the 2 property owners.
Jason, before we get too deep into this, can we point out for anyone on Zoom that these documents that we'll be looking at are available on our webpage?
Oh, you've already posted them?
They're there under the pending applications tab.
Okay, great, because we did talk about that, and that's great that you've done it. Yeah, we have just for those who want to know, we have in the planning board website, we have a pending applications tab. And what we're going to endeavor to do, especially going forward, is to keep that current. And I think Tom has very graciously offered to accept this responsibility, is to post the electronic versions of pending applications on our webpage when we get those versions. So if you want to know, if you want to look at the documents that are submitted with pending applications, they should be there. And this is one of them. And thank you for doing that. So that's, but it's an A&R, it's 9 and 11 Drumlin Road. And is someone here on this application?
If you're here representing this application, please raise your hand in your video or use the hand raise function. Mr. Chair, I have Deborah. I'll let her pronounce her own last name.
Thank you very much. For the record, it's Deborah Ellison, Ellison Law Office, 63 Middle Street, Gloucester.
Okay.
And representing the applicants. If
Wait, you're representing both parties?
yes.
Okay.
So I represent the owner of 9 Drumlin Road, who are Jenny and James Meyer. They're the trustees of 9 Drumlin Road Nominee Realty Trust, and 11 Drumlin Road, Madeline Cavanis, trustee of the Vern S. Cavanis 1997 Revocable Trust. And I believe that they are both on the line tonight. I would note that the agenda does misspell the Cavanis name. It's Cavines.
Yeah, I see that.
That's correct.
Okay.
And if I may share my screen, I think it would be easier to explain what's happening, if that's okay.
Yeah, fine. That's fine.
Can everyone see that?
Now we can.
Okay, very good. So the property line is a little bit irregular. And so it runs along this dashed line over here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I think that will help. And then it curves in and then runs along this dash line. So because it was not a very straight line and a little bit irregular, once it was surveyed, the owners determined that there were certain assumptions that they had made about who owned what that were not entirely correct. So what they're trying to do is to straighten out the line, to correct an encroachment, and they will be swapping, and this is part of the land that will be swapped and will become part of 9 Drumlin Road, and this portion will become part of 11 Drumlin Road. It's 370 square feet, both pieces. There will be no new lots created, and both lots will remain the same size as they currently are now, and they're both conforming lots. So it's merely a matter of trying to straighten out the line a little bit and to correct an encroachment that's existing. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, I have one question because we dealt with this before, and it looks like it's come up in this application. You refer to lot C as one. I mean, I understand this is a pure property swap. It's pretty straightforward. Refer to lot C and lot D on this plan, or your surveyor does. And when he refers to lot C, what's he referring to?
He's referring to the piece that is going to be added to the new lot, and he names the new lot as 1C, and the
Yeah.
same thing with D.
Well,
And
you know, here's the problem with that designation, and had this come up before. The definition of a lot in our zoning bylaw implies that it's, or basically expressly states that it's something that in theory could be a, you know, something buildable. A parcel of land is not necessarily a lot. In other words, all lots are parcels, but all parcels are not lots. This should properly be labeled as parcel C or parcel, whatever you want to label it, not lot C. It's a parcel, but it's not a lot, if you get what I'm saying.
I do understand what your point is, Mr. Chairman. I think he does state, I thought he stated somewhere that they would not become.
Yeah, no, it did state it, but
Mhm.
I can, you know, I can pull out my bylaw and show you the definition of a lot. And I think you would agree with me that this is not a lot for that definition. So can we clean that up? I mean, that would take your surveyor 5 minutes.
Yes, what we could do is we could ask the surveyor to present a new Mylar that would change that nomenclature.
Yeah, for both of those.
Labeling for both of
yeah.
them, yes.
Yeah,
I
lot,
do.
parcel D and parcel C if you want to.
Yes. I do understand exactly what you're saying. What I would hope that we could do is have this approved tonight, and then the plan with the subject to the condition that the plan be changed.
We
so
could
that we
do
wouldn't-
that. And I'm assuming, you know, that's not, I mean, with an A&R, that's not exactly what we should be doing in terms of procedurally, but it's such a small, I mean, it's so unsubstantive, but it is, you know, it is to be consistent, it's important.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yeah,
When was this application submitted? Because obviously we have a time element in
well, that's
play
what I,
here.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Hold on one second.
It was submitted on February 8th.
Yeah, but didn't you want it to be postponed?
Oh, we did, yes.
Yeah, so
Right,
you asked
right.
for the postponement.
We did, because I wasn't available at the last, I had a conflict for the last.
The
meeting.
application was filed on February 8th. So right now we're over 21 days, but the 2-week postponement was requested by the applicant. So basically we could add 2 weeks onto the 8th, and that's February 22nd. And so, you know, we still, because they asked for the additional 2 weeks, so that time wouldn't be charged against the, you know, the 21 days. So that would be something. How quickly could you have this in?
I would talk to the surveyor tomorrow. And it would be a matter of how quickly they can do that. It's, you know, certainly not a big change, but.
Okay.
Uh,
Let's just see what, okay, let's just,
We could certainly agree to, you know, waive any time constraints.
well, well, that doesn't work.
I don't know that the code allows us to do that.
You don't, it doesn't. So let's just see the 22nd. So that was Wednesday. So 1 week was 7 days was this, when yesterday was 7 days. And then the 8th will be 14 and the 15th will be 21. So we'll be 1 day, on the 15th, we'll be 1 day shy of our meeting on the 16th. So what I would suggest to make it a little cleaner, because, you know, A&Rs are kind of either very black and white. Either you approve them or disapprove them within the 21 days, or else they're approved. deemed approved after 21 days if we haven't acted on them. What I would suggest for the applicant is to withdraw it tonight, resubmit it, and we won't need to have any, no more application fees, no discussion. We'll just look at the change and then we'll, approve it at our meeting on the 16th with the changes made.
And will you, I guess what that will involve is another appearance at the meeting, which, does.
Well,
cost
you don't
some
have
time.
to appear. I mean, it's up to you. We don't need you to appear. If the maps are changed, then we'll just approve it, because
Mhm.
the thing we're going to be looking at.
And you don't think it would be sufficient to approve it tonight, subject to?
No,
that
because
waiver and
there is
change?
no approval of an A&R subject to a change being made in the future. It doesn't exist, unfortunately. I mean, it's supposed to be to the benefit of the applicant, but it actually can, I think, be difficult for an applicant too. But yeah, there is no conditional A&R. It's either approved or disapproved. So that's why I'm asking you to do this.
Yeah, and I guess the only thing here is that it's not really a substantive change, it's a labeling, but so.
We're
the
changing
suggestion is that-
what's being filed with the clerk.
Yes,
And so I get what you're saying, but it is a change and it will require a change in what's being filed with us. So I mean, do you have any other difficulty to have?
no, I think we will, I guess the only alternative is for us to withdraw tonight and resubmit the application.
Yeah, and like I said, no, there's not another fee. If you want to appear, fine, you don't have to turn on your computer for 5 minutes and then turn it off again, because that's what an appearance will be. And that would be the best thing for everybody involved.
Okay, then I would ask that the board allow us to withdraw this evening and we will resubmit.
Okay, just with those, other than that, is there any other issues anyone has about this?
Yeah, I was questioning the frontage. The old frontage was 32 feet. And now there's a little kink in this straight line at the front just to flare it out like a lot of the pork chop lots have. And for some reason that was decided to be 14 feet. So it's 46 feet of frontage, and I believe this is required 50-foot frontage. Which was, I mean, there's certainly enough non-conforming places in town, but it seems like if somebody is transferring a parcel, it would be, they're within 4 feet of making it a conforming frontage. Is there some hardship or a existing condition there that makes that not possible?
Well, the owners of 11 certainly don't want to give up more land than they can. The encroachment was an encroachment by lot number 9 of an electrical service that was put in. So this covers the electrical service. The lots were approved previously with the 32 feet of frontage. And I have not looked closely at the bylaws to determine what the frontage would be for a pork chop lot.
Well, what zoning district is this in?
It's in the R.
Okay. So,
It's required to have a 50-foot. I mean, clearly that
so which lot are we talking about? Yeah, the insufficient.
the
Lot
lot
9,
in back,
number 9.
Meyer lot,
Which lot?
Number 9.
Okay.
Middle lot.
So it's being made more
one's tucked
conforming
in
than it
back.
was.
yes,
Wait,
it's more conforming than before.
Correct.
I couldn't understand what was said here.
It's,
Are
the
we,
lot
are you,
is,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Okay,
lot
I'm
number
questioning
9
is once you improve something, should you improve it all the way to conforming?
well, that's the ideal thing to do is make it, there already is there a house there already?
Yes,
Okay.
houses on both lots.
So you're adding to lot number 9, right?
Correct.
Correct? So
Making it more conforming.
more conforming, but not completely conforming.
Correct.
No, you're making it less non-conforming. You're not making it more conforming because it doesn't conform.
Well,
right.
correct, you're right. Less non-conforming, more tending to conform, but not conforming.
Yeah, it's less non-conforming.
So what is the footage after the addition?
46.
46.
Yeah, 46.
4 feet,
Yeah.
shy of that. And is there a reason why that 4 feet can't be made up, you know?
Well, I don't believe the owners of lot 11 want to give up more land than they have to. And the idea was to try and make what each party was giving up the exact same size.
Yeah,
And
so I mean, it was a
negotiation.
trade-off.
There was a lot of negotiation that went on as to where these lines would be. So to go back and reconfigure would require a lot more negotiation and more work with the surveyor, much more costly for them to do that, and would also, you know, you'd be requiring another property owner to give up even more land.
Yeah, I understand that, but you know, in theory, they could give it up in one place and get it in another. So, I mean, that looks like what happened here anyway. They gave up land on the street side of the lot, but then got land on the back side of the lot. So, I mean, there was a trade-off.
Right, because there's an
privilege.
encroachment right here. So there's an existing encroachment, and so that's why
Right.
there's a little cutout. The owners of 11 certainly don't want to give up more. And we are making it less non-conforming. If this isn't approved, then it would go back to the 32 feet and we'd have an encroachment. So it seems to me that this is a better solution. It also, you know, it's a hardship on number 11 if you force them to give up more land to correct a situation, an existing situation.
Well, I don't know about that, but it is less non-conforming, and there already is a house there, so it's not
Yes.
like we're creating a lot for building purposes. There's a house there already. It's an existing lot.
Yeah.
And right, if nothing was done, it would be 32 feet. So now we're adding another 14 feet. So I don't.
I'm okay. I just thought we should discuss it.
Yeah, no, it's a very valid point to bring up. Absolutely. But I think it's, yeah, making it less non-conforming is better. If they did nothing, it would be worse. So, yeah. Okay, any other points?
I have a couple of questions. This encroachment that you're trying to avoid here is underground electrical?
No, there's above ground electrical panel, but there's also, as you can see, this driveway that has been existing and paved. There's been parking in this area as well as the driveway. So those are the encroachments there. And from the above ground panel, there is an underground electrical that goes to number 7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the weird part. It's going to number 7, but you're dealing with number 9 here.
We are so we're correcting it with regard to number 11 and 9, because right now it encroaches onto number 11. So this will correct that. Once this plan is approved, there will be an easement granted to number 7 over the number 9 for the electrical. But we can't do that until this is corrected.
Understand. My other question was about the dirt driveway to number 9 that appears to encroach on number 7's parcel.
This is number
Right now, the
12.
dirt driveway, it looks like it actually, part of it's on number 11's property.
Yeah,
It is. It
Yeah.
is. And you're right, it does.
And
appear
number
to
7.
Approach on number 7. I think that's something that number 7 and number 9 would have to deal with. My understanding is that there's a familial relationship between the two parcels, so
Okay.
I'm sure they can deal with that
Meyer and Seven.
themselves.
All right, thanks.
So I have a question. I know that, you do have that paved area. If it was simply moved closer towards number 7, that would suggest that maybe that does away with the encroachment.
Only with regard to the driveway, not with regard to the electrical, because the
Understood.
electrical is
Okay.
still in this
Yep.
area.
But the electrical is a utility pole, right?
It's a utility panel.
Owned by National Grid?
I don't believe so. I believe it's owned by one of the parties.
Okay. I'm sorry, I missed it. Where is that shown on the map?
It's just a line, Jason, I think. It's just that line right beside the letter E.
Exactly.
That's it, yeah, okay.
They probably should put a label on that.
Okay, beside the letter E.
In
Just
the
to-
shaded area. on the,
Just to the left of the
Oh, I
line.
see, yeah. I see, it's a very small letter, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's just a single line there beside
I
it
see
on the
that,
left.
I see that, okay.
So there's a
All
utility.
that would then be
pole here.
all that would be brought on to number 9's property when this is approved.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I
So
think,
do the utilities from that panel, do they then go underground to the structure? Is that what that
Yes.
panel?
They're
Okay,
underground electrical, yes.
gotcha, okay.
yeah, I mean, if number 9 ever sold the property, without this adjustment, there'd be a major problem.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, well, it seems like it's, I think you're going in the right direction here, so. Any other comments?
I have-
Okay, so just to reiterate, this plan is being withdrawn, will be resubmitted with the labels changed. All the other features on the plan, though, will remain as is.
Okay.
No other
We'll do that.
changes. Yeah,
Just
I mean,
building close.
okay. I mean, you can make other changes, but then we'll have to talk about it again if you want.
The intention will be just to change the labels per your
Okay.
request.
All right. Any other comments? Otherwise, we'll move on to our next item.
Do you need a vote with regard to our
No,
withdrawal?
because you're withdrawing it.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
very good.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Thank you. Next, A&R is Michael Butter, 6 Gap Head Road. We just had one on somewhere else on, what is it, 2 and 4 Gap Head Road?
2 and 4, yeah.
Yeah, now we got 6.
8 will be next.
Yeah, exactly.
I think,
This is all somehow Bob's fault.
It's a dead end. It has to end somewhere.
Yeah.
You
Go
follow.
right over to
that.
Statesman.
We go to the end of the street and end up at my house there.
Cross over to Statesman,
all right.
Everybody's
who's,
trading,
Who's
everybody's
appearing?
trading spots.
trading up. Okay.
Who's appearing for the applicants on this one? Bob Bisnick. So go ahead. Are you here for both of them, Bob?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chairman. Good
Okay.
evening, Robert Bisnick, and I'm a lawyer with an office at 45 Broadway in Rockport. And I am here tonight, of course, not seeking your approval because the process is approval not required. And as you know, under the relevant statute, Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 81P, as long as the plan that we're preparing and producing does not show a subdivision, then you must endorse it. And endorsement is what we are seeking this evening. And if you'd like, I can share the screen. If I can figure out how to do so. and you may or may not need that to occur. This is a little bit simpler than the one before you. There is a parcel that the Sturtevants are generously transferring to the butters, and it is 155 square feet. And what that transfer allows is the retaining wall that is mostly on the butters property will now be all on the butters property. And in fact, you're correct. A few months ago, the Sturtevants also granted some land to the Boulettes for purposes of an adjustment that they agreed to when the septic system was installed a long time ago. But this is a much,
That was the same people.
that was the same people. That's correct.
Well, we won't look out there that they're giving land away. But yeah, I see you have it labeled as parcel A,
Yes.
and yeah, this looks pretty straightforward.
I believe it is.
Anybody have any comments or questions?
Looks endorsable to me.
Yeah, okay. Roll call vote to approve. Peter,
Aye.
Do we need the motion first?
yeah, motion to approve. I missed that, but go ahead. Go
Motion
ahead.
to approve.
To
Okay,
endorse,
motion to approve,
To
second.
endorse.
to
I'll
endorse.
second that.
Okay, all in favor, let's roll call vote. Peter,
Aye.
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Harry,
Aye.
and I'll move to approve and endorse. Okay, you're all set, 5-0.
It could be a
Thank you
record.
very much. Have a good evening, everybody.
You too. That's number 2. Member items.
So, Terry, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, but I think we've got all of our signatures in for our petitions, so that Bob and I should be appearing on the ballot
Yes.
as candidates for the planning board. So looking forward to a fair election process.
Hey, that's good news. When is the deadline for petitions?
Yeah, so signatures need to be turned into the town clerk by March 21st.
Okay,
A big steal.
Yeah. Yeah. I've already got mine in case there's some fake voters out there, but so far I haven't gotten the word.
You may not get the word. The message back to me was if there's a problem, I'll hear about it, but if
Yeah.
everything's good,
Yeah.
it's quiet.
Yeah.
all right, any other member items?
I had two things. One is this a legitimate time to talk about whether or not to ask what these 3 citizens articles means in terms of how it affects us?
Well, none of them we didn't put that on the agenda because we didn't have it for the agenda. I think we need to, if we're going to discuss these and take a position on them, which we may want to do, we would need to put this on as an agenda item for our next meeting on the 16th.
Okay. So I guess I'd like to do that. I don't 100% understand the implications because they're not fully read out.
Yeah, well, let's put them on for the 16th and then we can discuss them at that meeting.
And then the other one is this the legitimate time to look at PowerPoint slides for the town meeting? I mean, for the open house or whatever we call it.
Well, the public hearing.
Public hearing, yeah.
Like how many are we talking about?
Well, I have a section on analyzing the zoning map, which I don't need to go through with you all. And I have a section on the parking.
So you want to just share them and get our feedback?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, well, fine. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, we're not going to have another opportunity after tonight.
Yeah.
That's going to be a week from today.
Well, I mean, so I apologize in advance.
For what?
For eating up time here.
Well, no, you don't need to apologize.
Okay.
He's searching.
So am I sharing?
Yeah,
Not yet.
Oh, another button to hit.
there you go.
How's I? So this was the Article K from before. And I've been sort of going through your whole show from before, the ones from afterwards, and changing the formats and the typefaces a little. And so I'm starting to elaborate a little more on the title slides and the points we're making. I think people had trouble reading it. So I separated the points a little bit, and I tried to highlight individual points. I'm doing this for a couple of the sections to accentuate the points that we're trying to make in the longer bullets. And then what I've done for parking, and I've tried to give some examples. People were saying that, you know, they weren't sure what page they were on and what have you. So I've taken and showed the actual page from the old zoning when the parking requirements were in individual paragraphs. Then I've shown the page that we're proposing that's in the handout package that we have, which shows the new chart. And then I blow up the new chart and highlight the two areas where the biggest change has been. And these are the two areas where multifamily and hotels, where we've gone from 1.5 unit parking spaces per unit to 1. And I've been looking through, there's a couple more things we've done here. I noticed one of the other things we've done is we've taken out any requirements related to the number of staff in the building. And I think this is consistent with some of what we've talked about for other things, which is who knows what that's going to be next year. And it's a little crazy to determine. So we've done them all in terms of square footage. So there have been some changes away from warehouse, and in particular, I think it was based on the number of people that worked in the warehouse, which could fluctuate wildly. But then I'm going to highlight one space, the difference of going from 1 space to 2 spaces. And I used Granite Street Crossing as an example. That currently got 23 units and 35 spaces. So it's conforming to the larger, and a major amount of this site is paved already, and every little bit would help. So if you go to 1 space units per space, you pull back, and there's any number of ways you could do it. In this case, I pulled back from the neighbors' abutting yards so that there would be more landscape area between these buildings and all the landscape there too. And I was going to make the point that this is the same logic as residential. If you could have a 5-bedroom house and only be required to have 1 unit, and here there are studio apartments and 1-bedrooms that are required to have a unit and a half. There's more permeable ground because there's less asphalt on the ground. There's more outdoor activity space. There's more buffering. And if we're trying to push affordable housing, there's less cost to the developer. And so these are the points I was sort of summing it up with in terms of changing that unit count. So other ideas are welcome. And then the last one in this little section is we have put in the shared parking paragraph in there now, which I'm blowing up here. And here I was just going to highlight another series of bullets to highlight the sentences that are buried within here. So that's what I thought I would do with section K. And I set it up as a format for the other pages. I've slipped a few others together. I've started a page for FEMA. And then for a little primer on the beginning of this thing, I thought we would start with what we're doing, the 7 remaining warrant articles. They're still mostly majority formatting, not substantive. And I was going to make a point about our goals were to correct errors, remove redundancies, eliminates a lot of dated regulations, incorporate new best practices, and then make it easier for people to use. Unlike we've been accused at several previous meetings that we're making it harder for people to use.
Peter?
And then, but at a higher level, we're trying to maintain the town's character, support housing affordability, and plan for climate change. Sorry, what?
Peter, on the previous slide, you had Article J is completed. I don't think you want to say that.
Oh,
Yeah, we didn't,
so we'll find out what we're going to do or not.
Well,
There
there was one
was there an
slide that
eye?
said completed, I saw.
Yeah, there was an eye.
there are 7
Okay.
warrant.
It
Well,
wasn't
I'm on
this
the
slide.
wrong one.
Yeah, wrong
I
one.
should do it on this one.
This
Yeah,
one,
no, that-
D to J not completed. I completed.
well, we got up to HIJ and we were on J, so we were through I.
We were on J when we lost quorum, right?
Right,
Yes.
so we will pick up, well, we're not going to pick up on J because we're not going to put J forward, but we'll pick up on, K going forward.
Did we not still want to get the two? Is J, does not J include the our district having two families reduced from 15,000 to 10,000?
That was J, yes.
And isn't that working towards complying with housing choice by making two families as of right?
No, because it needs to be 3.
Oh,
Did we ever figure out how many lots that would involve? How many are between 10,000 and 7,500?
Did we
no,
ever
I don't think
figure it
so.
out? I don't think we ever did that, no. I mean, but.
Well, Bob was looking into it.
But look, J doesn't, MAPC was mistaken in their belief about J, the ability of J to help the town satisfy the MBTA community's housing requirement. They were wrong. And that J is not, so, we need to go back and revisit the multifamily housing criteria, what they are, and have a consultant, because I don't think we can do this, look at our zoning and see where we might come up with 657, a minimum of 657 multifamily housing units for the town of Rockport.
Now, Jason, was that based on the assumption that, or the sort of the new information that we learned that they weren't willing to accept the accessory dwelling units as a third unit on the 2 family lots?
That's correct.
And that's when I said, well, what size of unit are they willing to accept? Because these ADUs can go up to 900 square feet, which is sort of a 1.5 to 2 bedroom apartment size. And many of the, like the Harbor Light units are less than 900 square
Yeah.
feet.
23,
But they're more than 200.
17 of the 23 units are studios.
Yeah. So they're in the 500 to 600 range, probably.
And I think they're
I
the 20 by 20s.
I can't speak for DHCD. And I was not part of that conversation between Chris Kushel and DHCD. It was just reported to me by Chris Kushel that they do not support the concept of an accessory dwelling unit being one of the 3 units that are required for housing to be called a multifamily unit. And, you know, I am not in a position to go, I don't feel that, you know, we should fall on our sword for Article J when the outcome of an argument about accessory dwelling units and trying to convince them to change an existing position is the best strategy. Rather, we have the time, we have till December of 2024 to come up with a, you know, one kind of comprehensive plan. And that's what it seems to me that that should be our goal. Rather than, you know, having a big fight over Article J at this point. There's no need to do that at this point.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, some of those things I was trying to develop with Rob were just to sort of explain that, like the density in a lot of the existing downtown district, for example, and a lot of the R district probably too, is very close to the 15 dwelling units per acre, which is really akin to having a 3-story townhouse on a 50-foot by 174-foot lot. That's 15 dwelling units per acre. And I get that. I can see why the ADU, it falls apart a little bit because our ADU definition is also based on the technicality of it can be up to 900 square feet, but it can't be more than 1/3 of the existing house. And that could limit it quite a ways down into the micro unit size or whatever. And therefore, we may claim we'd have to go parcel by parcel to figure out whether you could have a 600+ square foot apartment in all these parcels, which doesn't make sense either. Yeah. If you follow what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can't really say it varies lot by lot with our definition of an ADU.
So what are we gonna say in a week?
What?
Just not bring it up? We're just not gonna bring Jay up at the.
No, I'll just say, Jay, you know, just say that Jay, just what I said, you know?
Yeah.
That's what we're not. ADHC said, no, you can't create the multifamily unit housing by an accessory dwelling unit. That was the thought with the 2-family units, was that it could be not an external ADU, but an internal ADU to create 3-family dwelling units. They said, no, you can't do that. We're not going to consider that in compliance with the guideline. And then it makes Article J, it seems to make it kind of a dead issue at this point, that it would be better to come back and with a different plan, and perhaps some of the existing uses in the town, as per Bob's point about the density on Bearskin Neck, could qualify as, you know, multifamily housing, even though it doesn't have that label right now. It could have that label, and, you know, those would count toward the 657 units. You know, all I want to do, and all I think we can do, is come up with a coherent plan for, you know, this, most of which should be within the half-mile radius of the train station, and put it before the voters at a town meeting. And I think, frankly, Peter, I think you've done a great job with the graphics. I mean, you and Bob, you know, really add a tremendous skill set to our board to be able to do that kind of thing. And it's very, very helpful. And, you know, because I think conceptually zoning is difficult for a lot of people. And to actually see it makes a lot of difference. So I think what you have there is really good. I just want to say, you know, considering this is the first time I've seen it, I'd like to be able to look at it, you know, in the privacy of my own home and see if they have any comments to you directly.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great,
Yeah.
I think it's a great
I'll
start.
see if I can make a PDF that's small enough to send.
Yeah,
I made one other show, which is a little obsessive, but there were so many complaints about we didn't see the plan before, we never see the plan, we can't see it, it's too far away and whatever. So I did a quick little walk through what our zoning districts are that have a component of resident, and they all have a component of residential. So this goes through, and I literally just stripped all the color out and put it back in one zone at a time. So it shows where downtown is, it shows where general is. Then it puts the R district in, and I have all the criteria for each of them up there. And then it shows where our TOVD is.
yeah,
And then it goes and it shows how downtown, how R grows around downtown. And that's what people consider the real scale of Rockport. That's the area that gives the character to Rockport. Then we start to distribute along the coast with RA. And then SR continues that run along the coast. And then SRAA fills in behind with that one little funny space where the SMR is. And then the town owns the rest of that land there. So, you know, depending on how much time we have and what you want to think, I thought it might be worthwhile to train people as to what that area is. I also thought it would be helpful later on because people seem to feel that in Article J, when we were changing the area for a two-family, we were picking on R, and that somehow R was the underdog or something, when in fact,
right.
it's literally the walking area of town. It's the area that's closest to the T, for nothing, you know, for nothing to do with the TOVOD. It's the area that's part of a way of life. And the others are, if you will, somewhat more suburban compared to downtown.
Well, you know,
And-
the idea of the half-mile radius, of course, the state's idea. And I do actually have a map that shows a circle.
Yeah, I've got it here somewhere and I'll find it.
Yeah, well, I haven't. I'll be happy to send it to you. In fact, I thought it would be good to show at the meeting too, is that the idea is a half mile that anybody can walk a half mile within 10 minutes. So in theory, if you're a half mile of the train station, you can walk there within 10 minutes. And if you put that circle around, that radius around the train station, with the train station being at the center, you have, first of all, you have lots of property that would to your west, which is undevelopable. In other words, it could not be used for any kind of housing because either it's owned by the town or it's in the water supply protection and it, you know,
Right.
to the green. And so you're not going to put multifamily housing there. And then so then you're right. I mean, when you look at the radius around the train station, most of that radius covers the biggest zone that's in that radius is the R zone.
R.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just a fact. It's not, no one's picking on R. It's just R is within that, you know, half-mile radius. So if you could take this good map that you've done, and I think you've done it again, I think this is great. If you could take that and superimpose the half-mile radius on it, and just so people can see that, you know, where these zones fall within the half-mile radius.
I'll do that. I'll do
They
that.
have a pretty good idea then of why R is kind of the center of attention, you know? So, yeah, but this is, you know, this is the part of the public hearing that isn't tied to any proposed bylaw. It's really just an education session. Hopefully that people will understand a little, will walk away from this public hearing with a better understanding just of what's there now, you know, what's on the ground. what we're trying to do and
Yeah.
why the state came up with, 657 units, because it's 15% of all of the units that they've calculated are in the town of Rockport. And they just, multiplied the numbers, and that's how they got that number. And then a certain percentage of those units, I think it's 40%, need to be within that half-mile radius. The other 60% do not, according to their regulations. And that, at the, those, won't get into all the weeds on the regulations, but just kind of the nitty-gritty of the regulations. And two other important parts is that the regulations say specifically that affordability is not a criteria that we look at in this multifamily zoning. We're not doing an affordability evaluation. And the second thing is, we're also not looking at whether there's adequate sewer capacity for any new units. Even though that's been brought up a few times as an impediment, it may be an impediment, but it's nothing when we're redoing the zoning that we're supposed to consider, because according to the state, that is a problem that will have its own solutions, which we may have nothing to do with. So, all right, well, this is great.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say.
Just, I have one question, so long as we're still on member matters. Any word yet on the bid process on the housing production plan?
Yeah, we have one bid that qualified. There were two submitted, one qualified. The one that didn't qualify was because for some reason they said there's some work that was covered by the bid, and they said, well, we'll do that work, at an hourly rate of whatever, $150 an hour. But of course, that's not a bid. That's just saying, we'll do whatever that work at $150 an hour, and without a sum total, it's not a sufficient bid. So that bid was disqualified. And
We
yeah.
do that for meetings.
What?
Never know how, we do that for meetings sometimes.
Yeah.
You have no idea how many meetings the town's.
Yeah. So
Price for the work.
there's
and then
basically,
meetings.
so there's one bid. I don't know the number. I think it's somewhere around $60,000 or $70,000. I don't know what's happened with it. Denise, are you still there?
Bob was going to hand up.
Denise might know something about this. No, maybe she's not.
She's muted. She's here, but she's muted.
Oh, well, she shouldn't.
Yeah,
be-
my assumption is she's likely not at her desk because she muted herself and
right.
turned her video
Oh,
off.
okay, got it. Okay, I thought maybe she knew, because she's the one who, she and Mitch told me this. I don't know what they're up. So that's the answer to your question, Harry.
Bob Visnick seems to have some information he might be able to share with us.
Bob, do you know anything about this process?
No, actually, I was raising my hand for the previous issue, and I wanted to thank and congratulate your board. I thought it looked like that's going to be a great presentation, and I'm glad you're doing another public hearing. And my only comment/question is whether you might want to invite the cable channel or even the Gloucester Times or any other media, so that we can get maximum publicity for this, because
Yeah, it's done. That's actually been done.
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay. Any other member items?
Well, I just wanted to thank Peter for putting these maps together. And Peter, did you do that with your own craftiness, or was that Robert Craig involved in helping with those maps?
No, I'm a little old school here. I got a big high level file of the map and then deleted all the colors and put them back in Photoshop.
Okay, great.
So each one's
Like
a
a lot of
separate
work.
map.
Yeah. That's probably what I would have done too. So I just wanted to add, I thought this March 9th meeting would be, regardless of how we end up with our consultants and and working on the actual figuring out of the additional 20 some acres of zoning that we need to create for the multifamily housing, that we could at least begin laying the groundwork and the storyline for what is out there now and what does 15 dwelling units per acre look like, and what kind of real effect this would have on the community. So I'm trying to work with Robert Craig on just developing the existing picture, which is looking at what areas in town, parcel by parcel, are already at 15 dwelling units per acre or higher. Granted, they don't have setbacks and parking that are also in our zoning, but what those are and what the average for like an entire district is, say the downtown district, say the residential district. If you add up all those parcels and all the units, what is that density? Just so people get a picture of what we're talking about. And so I'm hoping to have 2 or 3 maps developed with Robert for the 9th that won't address the articles to bear on the Springtown meeting necessarily, but will lay the groundwork to maybe quell some fears of overdevelopment, things like that are out there right now. And I'm also thinking, as Peter and I had discussed, about an idea of just taking a picture of three various houses in town that everybody kind of knows, and sort of show what the density per acre of those units are and what that looks like. And I think that or a axonometric sketch on those would, I think, tell a big story. I was just looking at a 3-unit condo that I'm doing in South Boston that's on about a 5,000 acre or 5,000 square foot lot. And I was curious, okay, what does that translate to in dwelling units per acre? Well, it turns out it's 27 dwelling units per acre, and it's got 3 parking spaces in front of it on site, and it has an alley in the back and a front yard. So it doesn't take a lot, and it looks like a lot of the houses you'd see in Rockport, I think, especially in the downtown and Bearskin Neck area. So I thought that would be good to sort of get people on board with what we're talking about in terms of density.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, if you're going to have your own presentation, that would be fine. I think we should take as much time as we need to, talk about this stuff, to educate the public. And it may take more than one. Well, I'm sure it's going to take more than one session, but this will be kind of an intro, and then maybe follow up when we get some more specifics about how we're going to fit this multifamily housing in the town of Rockport, which is interesting to me.
The big thing to me that I don't really understand, and I haven't dredged through all of this 3A regulations, is how much undeveloped land that they are asking for in this rezoning, so that there's a potential for actual stuff to happen on a faster timetable.
What do you mean undeveloped?
I thought they had some requirement for changing the zoning to multifamily on land that doesn't have any housing on it currently, that doesn't have any buildings on it currently, but I may be wrong.
No, it does. No, it does not. It can be anywhere. It can be existing housing that, because in theory, existing housing could meet the definition of a multifamily dwelling, even if it's not in a multifamily district now. I mean, you might have, as you know, multifamily housing that meets the definition, but it's in, like a 1-family residential area. And what you really need to do there is change the zoning, not change the housing.
Right. Yeah, like when I was studying Gloucester, they have that same, their zoning is much closer to their housing that's actually existing and on the ground right now. So even though they have there's whole neighborhoods that are on 7,000 square foot lots with a single family unit, they're allowed to have, as of right, 2 or 3 dwellings on those 7,000 square foot lots, which makes their semi-urban zoning comply immediately, I think. So, and they have a lot of it around their train station there, so they may be good to go already. So the question would be, do we want to start laying the groundwork for, this is what I was getting at, like laying the groundwork for perhaps changing our 2,500 square foot and 5,000 square foot thresholds in general and downtown to something less, because that would bring it to the current condition much closer. Right now, it's about 3 or 4 times less dense than that, and it would then make a lot of those areas comply.
Well, right. I mean, that could happen, and that's, that's hopefully what we're going to get some help with doing.
Yeah.
Not only just calculating, but also depicting it, as both of you have already done on your own. I mean, look, a lot of planning boards don't have 1, no less 2 architects on their board. So, it's, and who can do this kind of stuff. And so it's really helpful. The town is really fortunate, I think, to have you guys on the board. So.
All right, well, I feel like we've got about 3 town meetings before we have to convince everybody of our plan, right? Spring, fall, and maybe another spring. Maybe
Yeah,
fall.
yeah. Well, another fall. I mean, we have
Maybe.
fall of
Great.
2024. In theory, we could.
Yeah. Oh, I also just wanted to mention that I have reached out to the Rockport Housing Authority to just get a better understanding of, there's an interim director there now. Actually, he's only been on the job about a month or so. And I wanted to dial in with her to see what the actual financial implications are with the MBTA in terms of the carrot and the stick, the stick being the funds that might be withdrawn from them, just so we can have a better sense of what those dollars are, because it's not insubstantial.
That's a tough question. I wanted to look at some of these communities where have already suffered financial repercussions because of a failure to comply with the Housing Choice Act.
Right. The Waltham groups, where they initially withdrew $300,000 practically overnight from their authority, the state stepped back and they reduced that amount, but it's still 70,000. It's not 300, but it's 70,000. So I don't know what that translates to Rockport, but.
The other thing is, we don't know going forward there may be some other financial implications that the state ties to this that we don't even know about yet. I mean, there's no limit, really.
Right. I thought there were actually, and I was trying to delve down and find out what those are too, because I think there was some grants and things for MBTA improvements further down the line that we get less money for if we're not compliant, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone has any other member item?
Yeah, Jason, I have a few things.
Okay, go ahead.
Picking up on the March 9th hearing, this is going to be in person. So you're preparing a lot of graphics. Do we intend to just put those on the monitor in that room, or is this going to be on hard copy? What's the plan for that?
No, I mean, I'm assuming we're gonna set it up, and I'm not assuming, we are gonna set it up where we can do, have a large screen, and
Okay.
from our laptops onto the screen.
Okay. And in terms of conducting the meeting, I guess, Peter's got some things to present. I think Bob's going to have some things. I think typically the ways these go, Jason, you end up answering a lot of the questions. I'm wondering if it would help if I would facilitate the meeting, and that would perhaps avoid any issues about getting into argumentative Q&A back and forth with the chair. So I could just sort of be a
I don't
moderator.
think we're gonna get into argumentative. It's gonna be like any other public, it's going to be exactly the same on the Zoom. I mean, people get up, say what they have to say, make their comments, and then they sit down. We're not going to have a dialogue. We certainly on the warrant articles, I think with the workshop part of it, there might be a little more flexibility because we're really, you know, it's more of an education session. But on the warrant articles, we're just, you know, we're there to listen to people, just like it's going to be the same as Zoom, except a little, I hope, a little easier for people to do things because we're not constrained by a Zoom screen. And you know, I know some people say they like Zoom, some people say they don't like Zoom. I mean, it is going to be broadcast on that 1623, Studio 1623, which is the public, you know, access station. So people will be able to watch it. But yeah, I think it'll be fine, and I'm going to laugh. And certainly, you know, Bob and Peter, you know, they can do a great job at presenting on that aspect of it. But the rest of it's going to be more of a, you know, regular old public hearing.
Well, that's the thing. I've been hearing a lot of concerns, let's say, from people who are objecting to not having a dialogue and being restricted to just 1 3-minute comment and then no back and forth. And I don't know if we can ease up on that. And I think it might.
No,
might help.
maybe we can, but you know, I'm not going to let people get up. I don't think anybody wants get up and comment 5 minutes later, get up and comment again, 5 minutes later, get up and comment again on the same topic. I mean, you know, we have to have some structure to our meetings. Otherwise it becomes a free-for-all, and the person in the audience who speaks the loudest and the most gets heard the most. And that's not fair, you know? And, you know, I'm not, yeah. You know, people say, unfortunately, everyone isn't going to be happy all the time. So it's just the way it goes, you know, but it's not going to be a, let's just talk ourselves till midnight about anything and everything. It's got to be focused on what our topics are.
Well, somewhere between running it like a state house hearing downtown and a free-for-all, there's a happy medium of dialogue. And that's
Well,
what I was
okay,
hoping
but
to
I
do.
think we can do that. I don't think it's a problem.
Okay,
I'm perfectly capable of doing that. So,
okay. I just trying to save you from being engulfed in the argument
No, I
and
don't- I
then
don't think it's
difficult to
gonna be-
moderate in that condition.
I'm not going to be engulfed
Okay,
unless you're going to engulf me. But
We might personally attack you.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have a
But
flamethrower.
it is a tough situation, and it's hard. It's unfortunate that we can't have more sort of true brainstorming sessions where we can talk out ideas. But I think the other thing conversely is like there's a lot of naysayers out there sometimes, but if you pose the question back to them, like, here's a problem that we're faced with. What is your solution to the resolution of this problem? Because this is just ours. We'd love to hear yours, but we don't want to, for instance, take away funding from public housing. So what's your solution to keeping public housing funding intact and future state grants intact? Where would you put this housing, you know, for example? And I don't even know what kind of issues are going to come up, frankly, Tom, on the floodplain stuff and the all that other all those other things that are on the agenda that we haven't even touched on. Do you expect there'll be a lot of discussion?
we may, I don't know how much time we're going to have. I don't envision getting into a huge amount of detail on the multifamily housing, only because, you know, other than what the requirements are, we don't have any plan for Rockport. So we don't have anything to present. I mean, it's up to us to initiate a plan, and we can have as many down the road, we can have as many information sessions as we want later.
Yeah.
we can have as many get together, let's find out what the public thinks sessions as we want. That's perfectly fine. I have nothing against that. But, when you have to, I've been to public hearings on this board where they've been painful because it just is, it's a free-for-all and it's out of control. And it's not fair to the people who may have things to say, but are just kind of pushed to the side by others who seem to want to talk a lot. And everyone needs to have the opportunity. So, okay.
A few more things, Jason, if I may.
Yeah.
So the organization, the Rockport Affordable Housing Coalition that we mentioned earlier in the minutes with Diane Vella's approval, they had a very successful session this past Saturday, and Peter was there. And I don't know if he'll share my opinion that it was very good information sharing. We had a speaker, community engagement person from the Harbor Light organization. We had about 45 people in the library and about 25 on Zoom. So something like 70 people total. Got pretty good reviews. And there's a follow-up to it on March 11th. That's another Saturday. And I understand you can't make it, Jason, but I'm wondering if we have anybody else who could. I'll be doing the Zoom hosting. I wonder maybe, Peter, since you were at the previous meeting, if you'd like to be on that panel.
Unfortunately, I'm up in Vermont
Ah,
for that
well,
weekend.
wow.
Yeah, I might be able to do it. Is it March 11th, did you say?
March 11th, Saturday at noon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I think I can make.
Great, very good.
I could be
Be
there.
good. Okay, one last topic. The Town Green webinars. We had one on Long Beach on February 22nd on Zoom. 56 people plus or minus. There were some in and out. I think that was pretty successful. A lot of good information transfer. We will have another one on the downtown, specifically Bearskin Neck and the Dock Square Sewer Pumping Station. That's March 8th. So next week's going to be busy. That's Wednesday of next week. And then later on, there's a follow-up. March 29th, I think, will be the breakout sessions for coming up with solutions where people will engage either on Long Beach or downtown. So a lot of stuff coming up, I think.
And there's a field trip in between those two also, right?
Yeah, high tide. I forget the date of that. After the 29th? No, it's before the 29th.
I think it's before, yeah.
Maybe the Monday before. Can't remember. So that's what I got. Oh, no, go on. I'm done.
Anybody else have a member item?
Field trip is on the 21st.
Thanks.
Okay. If there aren't any others, we'll go to our second public comment session.
Mr. Chair, you have a hand from Diane Vella.
Sure. Hi, Diane.
Hi, I think you're, oh, am I unmuted? Yes, I think you're, what Peter's doing and what Robert are doing is precisely right on target from what we're hearing and the questions that we got on February 25th. And our March 11th, Robert, thank you for agreeing to come on it's a panel, and can I contact you and give you a little bit more information about what our format and structure is going to be?
Yeah, sure, that would be great.
Okay, all right. That's I'm really excited that we're educating the public. Both of us are educating the public. We're going to have Andrew DeFonzia from the executive director of Harbor Light there talking about, again, helping people define what affordable housing is. That's our focus. We'll obviously talk about the zoning and affordable housing, Robert. That's what we're interested in. And we're going to have the community engagement person from CHAPA there to answer the MBTA questions and comments. So this is going to hopefully be a small amount of information from each of the panel members, and then a question and answer period for the rest of the time. And it's very limited. We go from 12 to no longer than 1:30 and we'll be done. So,
Good. Sorry, I can't make it.
yeah, well, we're sorry you are too, but we're happy to have Robert.
All right. Yeah, it should be interesting.
Great,
So-
thank you.
Dive into it. Yeah.
Okay, any other hands? Robert, Craig,
Don't see any others.
no other hands? Okay, well then.
I think our usual suspects are maybe at the finance and school committee meeting.
Oh, I guess they're not, somebody isn't here, so, okay, then let's, if, I think we're all done, and I'll see everyone at 6, well, I'll be there before 6, but, we'll probably want to, and I can contact you, in between meetings, but kind of get our technical stuff in order before, March 9th, in terms of just making sure that everything's working and all slides are showing, and, you know, computers are synced with the hardware that is in the town hall, you know, in room A in the town hall. And it'll be nice to see everybody in person.
Which room is it in?
It's the conference room A, which is the large conference room it's in the basement of the town hall.
Lower level, yeah.
All right. Sounds good. I haven't seen any major comments on social media there from my post or anything. So things are quiet right now.
Yeah, there should be something in the Gloucester Daily Times, could be tomorrow or next week, about the meeting. So we've really got it covered. I mean, between your posting in social media, I know Denise Donnelly posted something on social media. We've got the public notices, of course. We've got a posting on our planning board webpage, a red banner posting on the webpage, which I had put up earlier this week. And then we've got the article in the Gloucester Daily Times. So I don't think anybody's going to be able to say that they didn't know about it, because it's really all over the place. And hopefully we'll get interested people coming who would want to, you know, have comments. We want to hear their comments.
How big is the room we're in? How many people fit in it?
I don't know the answer to that, but I think there'll be enough space.
Conference room A has about maybe about 20 seats in it.
Well, I think they're more than that, Harry, if you put the chairs out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, then people do stand, you know, some people do stand in the back.
The ramp.
It's kind of an elevated ramp that people stand on. So, yeah, you know, as much publicity as we give this, you know, I don't know how many people are going to actually show up.
There is a fire marshal limit to that room. I don't know what it is.
Well, you know what? I've been to meetings in that room where it's standing room only, you know, for years. People forget before COVID and Zoom, that was where the Board of Selectmen met, and
Yeah.
often quite a few people in that room. And there is an air filtration system that we are going to have running. So that, if that gives anybody any comfort,
I'm wearing my mask.
and that is your option. Sure.
Boy, that room in the library where the ABC thing was held, the Bennett Room or whatever it's called,
Yes.
that worked really well.
Yeah. Well, this,
Really good AV.
this should
you know,
work
for
well
two-way.
too, but you know, we
Yeah.
just want to make sure that it's
Yeah.
everything's working. So, okay.
Okay. Whatever I have ready, I'll try to have everything wrapped up by Tuesday or Wednesday morning or something like that, and I'll get it to whoever wants to have it. I can just bring it on a flash drive or whatever too.
Yeah. Well, why don't you? I mean, if you've got material that you'd want to talk about, then I'm assuming you'll be doing the talking. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do a flash drive and we'll have a. Do you typically bring a computer to load everybody's things into, so we're not switching computers or anything, or,
I could definitely do that, sure.
okay,
We could assemble one giant PDF too.
Yeah.
If we do stuff ahead of time,
yeah, okay.
the night before.
So we don't need to, we can just have one PDF and.
Yeah.
One PDF, one computer, one flash drive, whatever,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good idea. Okay.
make it simple.
All right, folks,
Okay, sounds good.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So move,
They moved, seconded by Peter.
Peter,
Tom? Peter, take a roll call vote.
second.
You seconded, okay. Tom,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Harry,
All right.
and Bob.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned and it's 8:17. Thank you, folks. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right, take care.